NASCAR Sprint Cup with the NBC Sports app and get closer with additional camera angles, driver stats, and track information. You can watch live anywhere on any device. Find out more at NBCSports.com/live. Take a look at the rules for today's qualifying. On super speedways, no group qualifying. It'll be one-time lap in each round. Round one, the top 12 will advance to round 2. So that means starting spots 13 through 40 will be set. And round 2, that's when we'll determine who will be on the pole and those top 12 starting positions. There'll be a break in the middle, and under that break, no one will be allowed to put the cool-down units onto the cars until all of the cars have been determined who the 12 will be that will go into the second round.
You know, I think not only is the format and the multiple rounds are different, but something that I don't know if anybody anticipated was going from 2 to 1 lap has really changed the approach. Remember, it was really just top speed. You would see cars leave pit road, just like the 32 of Bobby Labonte's doing right here, and run really high up against the wall. But he would do this not just this out lap coming to the green, but he would also do it the whole first lap of time and really get this car up to full speed, then go to the bottom of the racetrack for the time, the lap of importance, which used to be the second lap. With it only being 1 lap now, Rick, these cars have to accelerate differently. There's other things the teams have been able to work on to find speed.
Bobby and Terry Labonte, has there been more successful brothers? And I'm looking at one of the brothers that has been a part of NASCAR, but champions in the sport. Bobby Labonte, a champion, has had so much success. Terry Labonte, Hall of Famer now. Probably one of the most famous and, I guess, successful brother duos in the sport of NASCAR.
Yeah, those guys did it. They did it the right way as well. They raced people the way they wanted to be raced. They raced very aggressively, but they were very respectful on the racetrack. 2 really good guys, ambassadors for the sport, really good race car drivers, worked very hard at it. Remember, Bobby Labonte actually worked for the teams that Terry drove for.
Right.
You know, so he came from Texas and actually worked on the race cars. Bobby was a really good fabricator, an all-around race car guy. In his prime, there's nothing on the race car he couldn't do.
And Rick, you talked about this yesterday with cars in and out of the pack. That RPM, you see about 8130. That's going to be a telltale sign. We can watch that with all of these cars as they run. We're looking for basically more RPM, especially down the backstretch. You know, we talk all the time about finding speed. What does finding speed mean? It means you need to have a car that on the straightaways cuts through the air as efficiently as possible, has to make the most horsepower as possible, but also there's a lot of corner between the travel and both ends of the racetrack. You can work on that rear suspension. The more that car travels, the lower the spoiler gets out of the air. Basically, it's an aerodynamic advantage. So we see Bobby Labonte completes his lap at a 51:10. I'm expecting the fast time to be around the 50-second bracket. With what we saw yesterday in practice, there were some teams that did run by themselves, and the faster teams seem to be around a 50-second flat.
And we do have a car that's going to go home today.
Right.
Yeah, but Bobby Labonte, he's not one of those cars based on their situation with having a charter. They're not going to be one of those cars, but we have one car that's going to go home today.
We have said many times that this one racetrack might be one of the easier ones to qualify on because these drivers are going to hold it wide open the whole time. But it might not be as easy for Matt DiBenedetto, and Dave Burns is going to tell us why.
Well, this is the 3rd BK Racing entry of the weekend. We talked to Jeffrey Earnhardt, who is in the 83 that Matt normally drives. This is a 93. Reagan will be in the 23. But DiBenedetto has food poisoning, according to car owner Ron Devine. Just spoke with him moments ago. And he says he'll gut it out today. He's been taking some fluids to try to get through it, but they expect him to be fully functional tomorrow. But just kind of has to ride this one out.
This is one of the 5 cars that could go home, so he needs to lay a good lap down. It's he, Ryan Blaney, David Gilliland, Reed Sorensen, and Ryan Reed. So
that's a pretty good lap there, 50.82. As far as for guys that have to be one of the 5 that get into the show, we always take a look at the double yellow line when we go to Talladega or Daytona, and you take a look at this. Regan Smith fighting at the time Tony Stewart down below the yellow line, and once again the rule is you can't go below the yellow line to advance your position.
I mean, it's very simple. The rule is, as you said, you can't go below. If you force someone below, you may be penalized. There's not a guarantee there. So if you're the leader of the race, you use that yellow line to your left, basically the out-of-bounds line. You pin your left side tires against it, and what you saw Regan Smith there was he got a run, and he had to go below the yellow line to advance his position so the win was virtually taken away and was given to Tony Stewart. But as a leader of the race, Jeff, you know that's your friend. You can use that yellow line to force the cars to go to your outside.
That was one of those difficult decisions that NASCAR has to make. You know, when you are the leader and you force someone, or you run it in 10th, then you force someone below the yellow line, and they have no choice but to be there, then that driver needs to understand that he can still not advance his position at that time. NASCAR looks at every case differently, and every case has to be looked at differently, but in that case, they looked at it and said, he did pass by going below the yellow line and took the win away.
54.83 for Regan Smith. Earlier this year, started 25th, finished 32nd in this race. His next car out onto the track, Michael Annett, number 46. Michael also involved in the race earlier this year. Started 38th, finished 38th. Going to look for a better outcome than that. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, all 40 cars that start this race, no matter where they are on the grid, can affect everybody else out on the racetrack.
Well, it's a chance for teams like Michael Annett, where, you know, on a normal race, they don't normally run well enough to win the race, but here they do. Here they can get in the right draft. They can be in the right position. This is an opportunity for these teams. These teams look at this as a potential year-changing, and in some cases, a career-changing opportunity. So this is their chance to go and be exceptionally aggressive and try to make something good happen.
So we showed as we see Michael Annett finishing his lap a little off the pace there, we showed Regan Smith going below the yellow line. Well, as that continued on, this is the other example right here. So the 09 of Brad Keselowski is up against that double yellow line. Carl Edwards tries to squeeze him below it. Brad Keselowski says, you know what? I'm not moving left. I'm not going below the double yellow line. It basically sent Carl Edwards into the air. Some people didn't love that move. Others defended Brad, that he did everything he needed to do. Right. But that's what that does, Jeff, because then Brad knows to stay against that double yellow line. He thought he was safe, and he kind of had to just hold his position.
James Finch liked that win that day.
Yeah.
He was actually on his way out of the racetrack, heard that his car won, and came right back into victory lane.
So Reed Sorensen, he's one of the 5 cars without that maybe going home, but this lap he has going right now looks really fast.
Yeah. Saw some sparks, though, out of the 55. You don't want to scrub any speed off of qualifying, right, Jeff?
Yeah, look at the speed, though.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, this is a really impressive lap. Much faster than I thought really anybody was going to go, and Sorensen's going to do it here.
Posting a huge lap here for Reed Sorensen. We'll see what the number is. 49.32. He's a second faster than anybody else that's been on the track.